Hello, beautiful people. It's Cinderoma. Welcome to the channel. Today we're back again with another video. This is from Candace Owens and it's about Taylor Swift and Justin Baldoni. We're gonna check this together and I love your thoughts and your contribution in the comments below. Let's dive right in.
Look, I know there are a lot of people who do not understand everybody's obsession with this particular case. But I want you guys to know, those of you that do not understand, that the problem is definitely you guys, okay? It is like coming across people who don't understand the fandom of Harry Potter. That's how I feel right now. And we're like 7 books in right now on this Blake Lively saga. And people are like, I don't understand why you like this. And I'm like, this is a story about a baby who an evil dark wizard tried to murder. It's an innocent baby that Lord Voldemort just tried to murder while it was sitting in the crib, okay? That's what happened here. Justin Baldoni was an innocent baby sitting in the crib, and a Dark Lord tried to murder him for absolutely no reason. And luckily he had this wonderful spell, for those of you that follow Harry Potter, of love from his cousin that seems to be protecting him, love from people that have been following the saga. Like I said, we're seven books in. We're not going away. Okay. Now I tried to go away on maternity leave. I did. I said, I'm stepping away. And I have to assume here that Brian Friedman absolutely despises me because it seems like he waited until I was vulnerable, until I was postpartum, to serve the mother of all subpoenas, a subpoena to Taylor Swift, right? Or so we thought. Because there were tons of news. It's all the headlines. I was like, oh, the subpoena has gone out regarding this subpoena. But then when I went to go look for it, I couldn't find it. It's like reportedly a subpoena was served to Taylor Swift. I want you to think about that. You've seen a ton of headlines about the subpoena. You've seen her team react to the subpoena, but you haven't actually read the subpoena. Has that subpoena even been filed? Remember that. Now, first, let's back up. I have been saying since day one that if Wayfarer Studios and all the other parties want this lawsuit to end, Brian Friedman has got to just serve Taylor Swift. Now, why was I saying that? Because obviously she was involved here, okay? It was just obvious from day one. Things were looking a little funny. Taylor Swift had some involvement. Now, it wasn't just her song. It was also, she came out of a relationship. She was with Blake a lot, being photographed with Blake and Ryan all throughout New York City, kind of in her, like, I'm back to single Taylor Swift era, looking for something to do. Then we read the text messages. They're dropping Taylor Swift's name. We learn from both Blake and Justin Baldoni and the actress Isabella Ferrer that also Taylor Swift had a hand in picking her for the role. Much supposed to believe that all of those 3 are liars, including with each other. Taylor Swift was involved. We also learned that allegedly, I'm saying all this allegedly, that Taylor Swift got Brian Tyler, the composer, fired. She didn't like him. She had some old beef with him. They brought in a new composer at the last minute. You know, just a lot of like Taylor Swift stuff going on. And then she did kind of the disappearing act, which is Taylor Swift's move when she's flying a little too close to the sun. It's her thing. That's what she does. Tree Payne, her savage PR person from forever, always knows when Taylor Swift is too close and Icarus has got to go away. Okay. And I said, you got to subpoena her because A, she's involved, and also because they are never going to allow Taylor Swift to go down. Who am I saying when I say they? The Taylor Swift enterprise, the team, okay? They will do literally anything to prevent Taylor Swift's text messages from being seen by the public. That's you and me. Why is that? Because Taylor Swift is worth $1.6 billion, my friends. Try it. Why don't you try being worth $1.6 billion? Do you understand how many people live and eat off of Taylor Swift? How many livelihoods depend upon her squeaky clean image? You know, the perpetual 13-year-old image, sweet friendship bracelets. They're going to protect that with everything that they have. And I suspect, I don't know, again, I'm saying allegedly, that Taylor Swift might not be that nice if you were friends with her. If you knew her, actually knew the real Taylor, you might get to know a different side of her. She might not be 13 years old, is all I'm saying, okay? So finally, I go on maternity leave, and Brian Friedman does the thing. He seeks to subpoena her, allegedly. And her team immediately, Taylor Swift team comes out and they issue a scathing response and a statement to the press. I'm going to read it here. A rep for Taylor Swift told the media, Taylor Swift never set foot on the set of this movie. She was not involved in any casting or creative decisions. I don't believe that. She did not score the film. Okay, we didn't accuse her of that. She never saw an edit or made any notes on the film. She did not even see It Ends With Us until weeks after its public release. We didn't ask that. By the way, we never said she scored the film or made notes on the film. We actually said that she read the script. So this is all like saying stuff that is not being said. It goes on. And she was traveling around the globe during 2023 and 2024, headlining the biggest tour in history. Super humble here. The connection Taylor had to this film was permitting the use of one song, My Tears Ricochet. Given that her involvement was licensing a song for the film, which 19 other artists also did, this document subpoena is designed to use Taylor Swift's name to draw public interest by creating tabloid clickbait instead of focusing on the facts of the case. End quote. So that's a lot of words to say that you are terrified, okay? This is not a normal response to a subpoena if you don't have what they are seeking, right? If someone subpoenas me and says, Candace, I want the text messages between you and Blake Lively, I don't need to issue a response to the media because I don't have text messages between me and Blake Lively pertaining to Justin Baldoni. I don't have them. So I just have to tell the court I don't have that. It doesn't exist. I literally had nothing to do with this. And so it's very easy. And this happens, by the way. I get dragged in, subpoenaed a million times in different lawsuits. They think I'm involved. And I just say, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I have not even one message to that effect, and that's it. But they are signaling hard body that there's something here, and they're kind of freaking out here because their plan didn't work to send her away and say she bought a puppy with Travis Kelce. Leave her alone. She's off tour. She's tired. Didn't work. Like I said, not a normal response. Way too emotional. And what happened next, really in the media, was kind of a flash in the pan. Most people didn't realize that we never actually saw that subpoena to Taylor Swift. What we saw, and I'm going to pull you up, I put together this little timeline for you guys, was a subpoena to Venable LLP. Okay, I'm going to walk you guys through this. So on April 28th, Wayfarer Studios sends an email heads up to Venable LLP. That is Taylor Swift's law firm, okay? They're specifically requesting communications between Taylor Swift's attorney at that law firm, whose name is J. Douglas Baldridge, and Blake Lively's attorney, whose name is Michael Gottlieb. Now I'm going to show you J. Douglas Baldridge here in a photo. He has represented Swift forever, dating back to her sexual assault case, which she won against the radio host. He's been with her for a long time. So he is getting this subpoena via the firm that he works for, Venable LLP.
Let me just say this. We've actually missed this because there's been a lot of interesting information back and forth. But I mean, exactly what Candace Owens said. Reading through that, you see a lot of words saying a lot of information. And something about this is just quite interesting. But at the end of the day, truly, truth be told, mean girl, no mean girl. And it just, the kind of vibe that you get when you see some people, yeah, it may be different from the personal, but if this person is presenting themselves to be this, it's just almost impossible for them not to act that type of way, right? Because most of her fans are like, okay, they want to embody and be like her. So it's giving that mean girl vibe, right? Maybe, who knows, she may not be the mean girl in real life, but do you think it's that possible? I'm asking for a friend.
The firm that he works for, Venable LLP, and they're asking him for messages between him and Michael Gottlieb. And this is a photo of Michael Gottlieb, who is Blake Lively's attorney. So that happened on April 28th. On 29th, that subpoena officially went out through the courtroom. And what happens next on May 2nd, you can see in this timeline, is that Venable responds, Taylor's law firm responds. They confirm they have received the email, received the subpoena, and they say that they're evaluating whether they're going to object to the subpoena, but they want further clarification on what is being sought. So not exactly a strong, what are you talking about, you crazy person? But like, what do you know, I guess would be the question. Then on May 12th, 10 days later, Taylor Swift's law firm files to have the subpoena quashed. They're like, we don't want to be involved in this. Please get us, we shouldn't have to abide by this subpoena. And then the day after, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds consolidate as, co-defendants, and they similarly file a motion to have the Venable LLP subpoena quashed. So they're all teaming up going, this subpoena, this cannot happen. You cannot see these messages. I'm going, but wait, why are Blake Lively's lawyer and Taylor Swift's lawyer messaging at all? What does Brian Friedman know? What do the Wayfarer parties know? That's interesting, right? So what happens next is, their excuse, by the way, when they filed on May 13th, they basically said, and I'll read you, that the law firm, Venable LLP, does not represent any party to this action. So they don't represent Wayfarer. They don't represent Blake. Why are you pursuing anything via a subpoena to them? And we want this dropped. Okay. So then what happens is Brian Friedman writes a letter to Judge Lehman. And this is what you guys saw in the media because we went, whoa, what is going on here? He is saying a lot. He drops a major bomb on his May 14th letter to Judge Lewis Lehman. And I'm going to read this in its entirety. We can pull it up here. The Wayfarer parties anticipate that Venable's motion to quash will be mooted in short order, as their counsel and Venable are conferring in good faith. So he's saying the subpoena is moot anyways, because in the background, I'm communicating, the Wayfarer parties are communicating with Taylor Swift's law firm in good faith. So we don't really need to do this through the legal system. Then he says, however, the Lively defendant's insistence that the subpoena seeks irrelevant information is wrong. The subpoena aims to obtain discovery relating to witness tampering and evidence spoliation. Specifically, the Wayfarer parties' counsel are informed and believed based on information from a source who is highly likely to have reliable information that Blake requested that Taylor Swift delete their text messages, and two, that Michael Gottlieb, who is Blake's lawyer, counsel for Lively defendants, contacted a Venable attorney, that is Taylor Swift's attorney, who represents Miss Swift, and demanded that Miss Swift release a statement of support to Miss Lively, intimating that if Miss Swift refused to do so, then private text messages of a personal nature in Miss Lively's possession would be released. Okay. So essentially saying they tried to extort Taylor Swift to come out and make a statement in support of Justin Baldoni. Major bomb. Tons of TikTokers have covered this. This is not new information. I'm just going over this slowly because there's some dogs that aren't barking here that I have to point out to you. Okay. By the way, I just want to say Michael Gottlieb if these allegations are true, and I believe that they are, that there was some extortion given the nature of the subpoena, which is very specific. The only excuse for trying to extort Taylor Swift and thinking that you're going to get away with it is crack cocaine, right? It's like crystal meth. You got to be on a very specific strand of crystal meth to believe that this is going to be a good play. To call up Taylor Swift's attorney and be like, well, we've got these messages about, this long friendship between these two girls, and she knows the real Taylor. And if she doesn't come out right now and support her in this suit against Justin Baldoni, she's going down. That to me just sounds like maybe the crystal meth that they kept referencing in that weird skit, that weird promo skit that Ryan Reynolds did. It feels to me like a Ryan Reynolds job. Like he called up Michael Gottlieb and said, like, this is what we should do to force her to support Blake. Something he would do, something he would come up with. Very bad idea. Okay. Now I'm going to.
Candace, please stop giving Blake Lively a pass on this. It can't. Oh, Jesus Christ. Candace Owens, see, you're all everything, but she just, the fact that she always make it like, or put it that is what Ryan Reynolds can do. But I mean, what do you think? For me, I always think that, yeah, it may be both parties, but I always think that Blake Lively too is not off the hook. It's given allegedly what she could do as well, because I mean, it's her friend, and she's the one that have been friends with this person for a really long time, and so mean girl, no mean girl, right? Maybe the husband Ryan might just be the one in the middle, and maybe might just say, how about you have to try this, and she'd be like, yeah, that makes total sense. See, it is you that that have that relationship, that know how to handle the relationship. There are some people that will be like, okay, they want to poke nose and tell you, oh, do this will work, or say this will work, and whatnot. But it is you that, especially some people who knows much about or more about their friends' secrets and all that. They know that, okay, for those who are wicked, they know how to get a hold on to say, okay, I know this about you and whatever. So I just still believe it is like,
Okay. Now I'm going to read, because he then signed off on an affidavit, a sworn statement that this actually happened, that he had this information, it was legit. And this is exactly how Brian Friedman is saying that he received this information. He says, I'm a partner at Friedman, Tatelman, and Cooley. And then we're going to go down to number 3. On February 14th, 2025, Valentine's Day, no less, I received a voicemail from a person very closely linked to Taylor Swift, whom I subsequently called back the same day. Out of respect for the individual in question, I am not identifying them at this point. However, should the court direct me to do so, I will comply with the court's order. So right there, we know Brian's telling the truth. He's signing a sworn affidavit, and he's also saying he got a voicemail. You can't really fake a voicemail. He's a lawyer. He's in the middle of a lawsuit. He obviously recorded the voicemail. He has it. He has it. He's waiting to drop it. He's signaling he wants to drop it, right? He's saying, unless the court compels me to do it, I gotta comply with the court order. But right now, I'm going to protect this person, okay? He goes on, he says, during the February 14th phone call, which lasted approximately 1 hour, the speaker told me that they had been informed that J. Douglas Baldridge, that's Taylor Swift's lawyer, counsel for Taylor Swift, and a partner at Venable, had received a phone call from Michael Gottlieb, counsel for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, during which Mr. Gottlieb requested, on Miss Lively's behalf, that Taylor Swift make a social media statement in support of Ms. Lively, given her absence from the Super Bowl that year, and stated that if Miss Swift failed to do so, Ms. Lively would release 10 years, he puts that in quotation marks, of private text messages with Ms. Swift. The individual also told me that they had been informed that Mr. Baldridge had accused Mr. Gottlieb of extortion and ended the call. Okay. I believe all of this. And if you read the subpoena to Venable, it's very clear that he's specifically asking for a text message, which took place after this call, which would confirm that that was the nature of the call. So maybe they got off the call and Douglas Baldridge was like, I can't believe you're trying to extort my client. Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? Michael Gottlieb replies, there's something here. And like I said, this is the truth. There'd be no reason for Brian Friedman to sign a sworn affidavit and lie, be willing to lie under oath. He'd have to be a totally crazed person. He always brings the receipts. I buy this. So in response to this, by the way, we get a statement from Michael Gottlieb, who is strongly denying that this took place. So I want to pull up his statement. Give me 1 second, which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous that you want us to believe that Brian Friedman completely went for broke and lied to all of us. He responds and he says, we unequivocally deny all of these so-called allegations, which are cowardly sourced to suppose anonymous sources and completely untethered from reality. This is what we have come to expect from the Wayfarer party's lawyers, who appear to love nothing more than shooting first without any evidence and with no care for the people they are harming in the process. We will imminently file motions with the court to hold these attorneys accountable for their misconduct here. So he's just hoping that the judge says, you know what, I don't like this and I'm not going to grant this subpoena. And so we're not going to get those messages, because he's lying. I mean, I'm just saying this right here. I sense very strongly that Michael Gottlieb, this phone call went down, and I know it went down. Okay. Because like I said, Brian Freeman has a very strong record of the truth. He loves to drop the receipts. That's why the public is on Justin Baldoni's side in the first place. But, and here's the big drum roll, you guys. You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. Who was this person? Who was this unexpected dragon that has now served Blake Lively and Brian Reynolds on a silver platter, right? Because this person had to say, this is the exact message that you have to subpoena. And why is that relevant? Because if there is proof that Blake Lively told Taylor Swift to delete text messages back in December when she first filed this lawsuit, well, you only tell somebody to delete text messages that prove that the person in the other side of this case is telling the truth, right? So she's telling her to delete text messages that would disprove her narrative. So that person delivered that to Brian Friedman on a silver platter. Who would have access to that? Well, those messages could have only come into Taylor Swift's phone. So this person does indeed have to be very close to Taylor Swift. And then you get the second element of this, which is going to make the court upset, that you're telling me that they not only like witness tampered, but also then tried to extort. And I love the fact that this is over the Super Bowl, because it just shows you how vain Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are. Like, it's February and Taylor Swift hasn't made a statement, and they're like, oh my gosh, we were with her last year at the Super Bowl and we're not with her this year. And that looks really bad. So like, oh, should we like extort her? I don't know. Like, should we just like extort her to make a statement in support of us so people don't realize that we're not there and we're not friends with her? Yeah, that's a really good idea. Have our lawyer call her lawyer and extort her. Allegedly. So who was the person? Who was unexpected dragon? Who was the person that very clearly after this Super Bowl thing got upset? Drum roll, please, you guys. Allegedly. Taylor Swift's father.
What?
Scott Swift. I love this so much. You guys, this means the mother of dragons, Khaleesi, forgot that there could be a father to the dragon, a father to her dragon, Taylor Swift. This savage man, Scott Swift, is going to turn me into a Swiftie. When I say a Swiftie, I don't mean a Taylor Swift fan, okay? I mean a Scott Swift fan. Because this was a savage move. And by the way, I want to be clear. The reason why I respect this move is because it's his daughter. Okay. I'm always going to respect a parent that is willing to burn it all down to the ground to protect their kid. Okay. There's an element of that as a parent, real going to recognize real. And Scott Swift played me. He saw me. Scott Swift saw me. Fisherman always sees another fisherman. He saw me salivating for these text messages. He saw me being like, we're going to see the real Taylor Swift. And he was like, no, Candace, the world will never meet the real Taylor Swift. But what clearly set him off, given the timeline of you see a phone call allegedly coming in on February 14th, it would have been this extortion attempt. And I wouldn't try it. I keep trying to tell people, Taylor Swift's parents are not from nowhere. They're not nobodies. Scott Swift, what's his background? Stockbroker. Okay. Her family was so financially successful that when their little girl said, I want to be a singer, they up and moved her to Nashville. Okay. Got her in touch with all the right people. And Scott took a percentage of the company that signed his daughter, 5% of the company that signed his daughter. Like, he's a financially savvy. You don't come around and try to play any game with a person that is financially savvy. He's so financially savvy that he established the financial advisor group at Merrill Lynch, where he's worked forever at Merrill Lynch, that is called the Swift Group. It's called the Swift Group. It's his. The whole group is his. And he's giving people financial advice. And I'm sure that if he could have given Blake and Ryan any financial advice, it would have been, don't do any of this. Okay. And so you're Daddy Swift, and you receive word that someone is in possession of 10 years of text messages, which in a relationship that she thought was a friendship, and they're threatening to just release stuff, implying, having your lawyer say, remind your client that Blake has 10 years of text messages. They were friends for 10 years. It would probably be best if she just issued a statement of support. You didn't threaten Taylor Swift, my friend. You kind of threatened an entire empire. The Eras Tour alone, according to Bloomberg, generated more than $4.3 billion for the United States GDP. Okay. $4.3 billion just for the United States. It was a global tour. Okay. So you're going to come around, you're just going to threaten everybody that eats off of Taylor Swift by saying, we're going to show you the real Taylor Swift. And you don't think that daddy or mommy dragon is going to wake up and be like, it's not going down like this. And he fired a shot straight at them. He wants them to know, even in filing the subpoena, that, yeah, we're working with them because nobody else would have this message. Okay, so Blake and Ryan are reading this. They're freaking out. They understand now that Taylor Swift is not their friend. Okay, that Taylor Swift's dad is saying, you want to go to war? Let's go to war. And what does this mean for Ryan and Blake? They probably should back down immediately because you are not winning a war with somebody that can inspire $4.3 billion for the United States GDP by going on tour. Okay, you're just not going to win that war at all. What are they going to do? I don't know. We know their personalities are extremely vain. Ryan has some tendencies, I would say. he's definitely crazy. That's my perspective. Ryan is definitely crazy. And the last card they have to play is to release Taylor Swift's text messages. They could just release to the public. It's irrelevant for this case. Case, as far as I'm concerned, is unofficially over. It's over, right? Now they have let you know it's over because they've served her up on a platter. Okay. We didn't delete the messages. We still have the messages. Also, you're an idiot, Blake, for thinking that texting someone and saying delete the messages means that no one can ever find these messages. Like, that's like, come on, Blake. Come on, girl. It's not how it works. It's not how it works in tech land. You can't just delete the message and then it's over forever. And now people are going to wonder what that message was that you wanted deleted. And they're playing ball with Justin's camp. So you got to fold. You got to fold, and you better fold real quick. But I love this because I love me a mommy sleuth, a daddy sleuth, a mom and a dad backing up. I respect that I got beat here. And I got to tell you guys, honestly, we're never seeing these messages. I told you forever we were going to see them. I felt confident, but I got taken down by this dragon. Even me, my hopes, my dreams, taken down. We're never reading Taylor. We're going to have to believe that Taylor Swift is a sweet 13-year-old girl for the rest of our lives. Okay. So roll up your sleeves. We're all Swifties now. You must respect game when you see it. And I completely respect this move that Scott Swift allegedly played. And that's all I'm going to say about that topic.
Oh my goodness. This was it even what I actually expected. But I mean, what was I actually expecting? But if we're being honest, if any part of this is true, that somebody was trying to extort somebody, then it is crazy. Because how do you do that to somebody you call your friend? Like, how do you do that? It doesn't make any sense. Honestly, it doesn't. But let me know what you think regarding this. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.